Hi, my name is Mia Merrill, and I have felt prompted for a really long time to create a YouTube channel entitled, the thought came to me, Mia's Miracles. When that impression came to me, I about laughed out loud because I do not enjoy being on camera. But yet, God has not let this go. And I think it was 5 years ago or something where I first felt that impression. And there's a reason why. First of all, I'm a single mom of 5 children. I have 4 grandchildren. I've been divorced twice. My life has not gone anything the way that I had planned it. And I've been through some really, really challenging times. Times where my faith was tested beyond anything that I had ever experienced. And I knew through those times that I needed to find out if there is a God. Are you really there? Do you care? Are you aware? Do you hear my prayers? And through all of the trials and challenges that I have experienced, I have, on the other hand, received miraculous evidences of God's hand in my life. And I just want to share some of these with you in the hopes that you may know that there is a God who knows your name, who is aware of you, your trials, your heartaches, your struggles. And He is calling out to you to turn to Him because there's no other answers. As we go through this life of hardship and trial and pain and despair, we can turn to the world and the things that many people use to cope, or we can turn to God and receive the peace and comfort that only He can give and the guidance and direction. So I am going to start sharing with you some of my experiences that I've had throughout my life. And I've journaled a lot of them. That's one thing I've tried really hard to do, is journal my spiritual experiences because they've been so vast and so many. And I truly believe if we all look back at our lives, that we will see that God has been calling us, that God has been reaching His hand out to us. I have witnessed that with alcoholics, with people in prison, people that the world would say are nothing, that they're worth nothing. I have just seen the spark of God in lives that the world would never recognize. And I've seen how God feels about all of His children. And these are one of the things that I want to share with you more than anything, is for you to know that He knows you and He has a plan for your life. And learning what trust and faith in God looks like and feels like. It's different for everybody. And it's a journey, but it is probably the greatest journey that any of us will ever go on. There's this quote that says, to fall in love with God is the greatest romance, to search for Him the greatest adventure, and to find Him the greatest human achievement. And I have seen that in my own life. So I'm super excited. I want to tell you about an experience, a life-changing experience for me and my son. As I told you, I have 5 children, and this was years ago. My son, his name is Holden, who's 21 now, he was about 7 or 8 years old at the time. I don't remember exactly. But it was 2 weeks before Christmas. The cousins were over. They were all playing outside on the trampoline. We have a net that goes around the trampoline, and then we have an opening. And they were playing Dead Man Fall, and of course my son falls out the opening. Leave it to Holden. And he comes in, he's got a terrible headache, he starts throwing up, and I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna have to take him to the emergency room. So I went and took him. My husband had a Christmas party, and I said, just take all the kids and just go to the Christmas party, and I'll take care of Holden. So as we go to the hospital, the doctor checks him over and says, you know, I don't like to do CT scans on children because the dose of radiation is so high, but I really feel like we need to. And I just kind of cringed, because those that know me know I'm very much into holistic and alternative methods of healing, and I don't like anything to do with x-rays. So I went ahead and, agreed, because of course we need to make sure he's okay. So we go in the room where the CT scanner is. They put my son in the CT scanner. I'm standing against the wall, and I just said a silent little prayer in my heart and said, God, please send angels to protect my child from the radiation. Well, we get back to the room. He's only in there for a minute or two. We get back to the room, and the minute the doctor walks out of the room and closes the door, my son turns to me and he says, Mom, I heard angels singing in the CT scanner. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what did you hear? And he said, Mom, they were singing Alleluia, Alleluia. And I felt so peaceful, and it felt like I was in there forever. Off and on all day, I wept. I do not know why my son and I were privileged to have an experience like that, where the veil was opened up and he was able to hear angels singing. I've pondered that experience many times, and some of the things that I learned from that experience that God taught me was that He hears the silent pleadings of our hearts. And what matters to us matters to Him. It's important because we are His children. You know how you feel about your children, and the love that you have for them and their desires and their goals, and you want them to move forward with their dreams. Well, I knew that silly little thing of worrying about the radiation from the x-rays was important to Him. He heard my prayer, and it was a testimony to me that He always hears our prayers. Now, we may not have a grandiose answer like I did, that Holden and I did, because I've had many prayers that are still waiting to be realized. But one thing we can know is that we can trust God, that He has heard. The angels are recording our thoughts and our desires and our feelings. And He is there, and prayers do matter. Prayers for other people, prayers for ourselves, prayers for our country, prayers for our leaders. It matters. Our prayers matter. And they reach heaven, and they make a difference. So I just want to leave you with that you are known and you are loved. And I'm so excited to share with you some more experiences from my life.